So, welcome back to Life, Legacy, and Wealth. Today, we're talking to Tom Moss about an interesting question involving trust administration and whether when you're choosing the right trustee and how to avoid any conflicts that might arise around those. So, Tom, let's jump right in. And when I say, or when you say to someone, you're going to choose the right trustee, what do you think most families think that means, and what does it actually mean in real life?
Well, I think choosing a trustee means choosing a fiduciary, which, that's a broad term. You see it on commercials now. They throw it away on investment accounts. But, I think the biggest mistake that families make is just picking someone they love. And love is great for relationships and caring and, having that bond with your family members. But love does not always equate to a great trustee. So when I say you need to pick a good fiduciary, that's someone that's going to be, organized and responsible and fair, but also firm. So a lot of times the person that you love may not be that person.
So let's get into trustees' roles and responsibilities.
Okay.
What are the trust administration basics? So when someone passes away or they become incapacitated, what does a trustee actually do day to day in the administration of a trust?
Well, the first thing a trustee needs to do is inventory the assets and understand what they're actually controlling. And making sure that there's a list of an inventory of those assets, the exact accounts, where they're managed, how they're managed, go over the investments, because sometimes you realize that maybe you're taking over for your dad who used to be great at investments, but he forgot about it for the last 3 years. So the diversification's not as appropriate as it should be. Making sure that the real property is insured, making sure that everything is safeguarded and in an appropriate manner. And then you have to look at who are the beneficiaries and who you're responsible to. Who are these assets to be used for? Are they just for your parent, or is it for the parent and the descendants of the parent, or is it for other third parties? You always have to take a look at who the beneficiaries are. So again, you control those assets, inventory those assets, determine your roles and responsibilities as outlined in that trust, and in a fiduciary manner, administer that trust.
What are some of the most common ways that a trustee decision can create friction or conflict among family members?
Well, all of a sudden, you're just your brother, or you're just your sister. You're now the gatekeeper. You're the trustee. And I think when that relationship dynamic changes, it brings about a lot of what the people think are injustices in their lives and so forth. And I can't believe my brother's my trustee, and my parents did this to me, and he's never fair to me. He never liked me. And so it becomes very personal sometimes when you choose family trustees. And sometimes it's a control thing. Sometimes people think I'm the oldest, I should do it. And sometimes people think my brother's not responsible. I can't believe he manipulates my parents. And so all those different things come into play when you're controlling someone else's money.
Hmm.
And a lot of times the reason why trusts are set up, not all the time, but a lot of time, is because the person who needs a trustee has issues.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, it could be addiction issues, it could be spendthrift issues. I could have a brother that I love very much, but if I give him $50, he spends 100.
Hmm.
So sometimes when I have to start telling my brother no, he can't spend all the money in his trust, we're no longer just brothers. Now I
Hmm.
am his gatekeeper,
Right.
and that can create a lot of issues.
So, what are the pros and cons of maybe choosing a family member as trustee versus choosing a professional or corporate trustee?
I think ultimately for functional families, again, compassion and care. I don't think anybody's going to care for your brother or your sister more than your brother in most families. I mean, if you have a loving family that cares for each other, I think that ultimately is the most important thing. If I care about my brother and I love my brother, as a trustee, I'm going to try to do what's best for them. And I think there's simply no replacement for that. I think that's incredible. However, some families aren't entirely functional, and that can create conflict. So then you have the professional trustees. And the nice thing about a professional trustee is they do this every day. They're not relearning the wheel when they take over. Two, they have investment divisions, they have tax divisions, they have all different types of benefits that they have, that they've developed over the years to ensure that the trust is administered efficiently, appropriately, and according to the law. The downside is, back to my compassion and care. I'm not saying professional trustees don't care, because I don't believe that, but I do think that Bank of America or whatever Bank of Truist or whoever doesn't love my brother as much as I love my brother, and and that's not a fault on the professional. That's just the reality of it. I love my brother more than they will. So I think sometimes, back to the caring thing, it's not. It is a corporation. It's a entity. It's not a person. But with that comes a lot of advantages as well, and you have to decide where in your family you sit.